record. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And then we'll get things started. All right, so welcome. Today we're going to talk about how to host some tips and some resources and things like that for hosting a family math night. But this is an event that you could really do with any kind of family event. So it could be a STEM night, it could just be a game night or anything like that, that just really is there to engage families in our programs. I know sometimes we get so busy that we forget to, include families in our programs and stuff like that. So we really just want to give you guys some resources and things like that to be able to host an event with families in your program. And from families, I mean, we'll be inclusive of not just parents, grandparents, significant adults in our children's lives, but also, how can we include those younger siblings in our programming and everything also. So for those of you who I haven't met before, I am Crystal Snyder. I am the Learning Coordinator with the Maryland Out of School Time Network. And we are the statewide network that is here to be resources, provide professional development, advocacy, support for those OST programs and everything. So we are here for whatever you need. All right, let's get things rolling. So objectives of our workshop today, we're going to learn existing strategies for supporting a math mindset. So we will focus on math quite a bit and just why it's important to have a family event to support children's math learning. We're going to talk about some hands-on activities. Unfortunately, we are virtual, so we can't really do too many hands-on activities, but I have a great resource that I'm going to share with you all during the webinar that will give you, it's a compiled list of activities and stuff like that that are great hands-on activities that you can just kind of plug and pull, right away into your programs. And then we're going to talk about how family engagement really positively affects student outcomes. And again, whether it be math or any other subject or anything like that, we really want to focus on how families can support the youth in our programs. So today during the workshop, just be open and fully present. I know there are a lot of distractions, especially when we are virtual and everything, but as much as possible, if you can just reduce those down and kind of be here and be ready to participate and to share. Take something, give something. If you have something to add, you can drop it in the chat if that's the way you want to share with us, or if you are comfortable coming off mute and just want to talk and everything, that's no problem. Please, if you have questions at any time, please feel free to raise your hand or come off mute and say, excuse me, Crystal, or whatever. I want this to be a collaborative session. And just think bigger and think forward. So just start thinking about what are the possibilities. Really open your mind to the possibilities of what is out there and available for programs and our youth. All right, so the first thing I want to do is a little activity that's called What is Your Mathitude? So just what is your attitude? What are your attitudes towards math? When I say the word, when I tell you, hey, you're going to be leading a math activity, how does that make you feel inside? And Sunny, if you can drop the bit.ly into the chat, or you can grab your phone and just scan that QR code to our Padlet. And the Padlet will bring up where you can kind of put your things in. You can either do it anonymously or you can put your name on. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen for a second and we'll open up that Padlet, and you can just type in your responses when I tell you that you're going to lead a math activity with youth this afternoon. Give me a second and I'm going to and now I'm going to share the Padlet screen. What you do is you just go in and type in on the Padlet. Yep, there we go. So I love math. I'm working with students to build their math identity. That's awesome. I'm excited because I love math and numbers. Enjoy seeing students' face light up when they figure out problems. That's great. So it seems like we've got some math people in. Great. So we have some math people here. Sometimes attitudes towards math are not always positive. Sometimes, you say you're leading a math activity and some people are like, I am not a math person. Like, please do not ask me to teach math. And, we're going to talk a little bit about how the attitudes of the adults around the youth in our program really affect how they, how they respond to learning about math and everything. So is anyone comfortable to come off mute and share kind of how they feel about math? I know we saw it in the Padlet, but is there anyone who would like to talk about it?
Yeah, I can go. I actually, like I said, I love math. I love numbers. I like things to be black and white. I don't like gray areas, even though I got on a gray T-shirt today. But um, I like things to be black and white. And I feel like that's how math is. It's either you got to, it's kind of like it's right or wrong, pretty much. Now, how you get to the right or wrong answer can be different ways for different people, but it's no, it's not too much room for error. We don't have to have a long conversations either right or wrong. That's pretty much it. Um,
Absolutely, yeah.
I, you know, I like to, just see kids enjoying math because I think in the world we have more people that like shy away from math when we use math every single day, all
Yeah,
the time.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Carnell. Anyone else would like to share? All right, if not, we'll just hop on. Okay, so I'm going to thank you so much for putting your responses in the Padlet. So I'm going to stop sharing and we'll pop back over to our PowerPoint. All right. So why math? Why is it important that we talk about working with children with math and everything? So supporting math skills when youth are young really helps to build that foundation. You have to learn the basic addition and subtraction, and math builds on each other. So addition and subtraction leads to multiplication and division, leads to those higher thinking principles and everything. And there's principles of literacy in math too, when we think about word problems and problem solving and critical thinking skills. So there's so many things that math skills don't just always generate with the numbers, but those thinking skills, those problem solving skills and things like that. So they're really important, and the sooner we get youth interested and create a love for math in those elementary years and everything, then it can build to higher math skills in middle school and then in high school and college. It gets them interested in STEM careers, which as we know and we hear all the time, STEM careers are the careers of the future. And if we can build that love for math and then for the science and the engineering and everything else, then we can build that love for STEM and really get more youth, and especially underserved youth, involved in those STEM careers and everything. And just because the people around them aren't math people doesn't mean a child can't learn to love math and become a math person themselves. Okay. So, and it's really important for families to support developing math skills. And it doesn't mean that families have to know upper level math or have to, be good at math and everything. It's more their attitudes towards math that are really going to be the catalyst for what makes youth more comfortable with math. So praising their effort and not the results. Like Cornell said, it is black and white, and there's different ways to get to it and everything. And even though they may have worked really hard and not had a computational error, but had the right steps and everything, we can praise that effort in that work. Rather than just the right or wrong at the end, because we can teach them the right or wrong. But if we discourage them from the effort and continuing to try and continuing to work harder and everything, then it doesn't matter if they get the right answer or not, because they're not going to have that ingrained feeling that I can do math. And we want to make sure that we are encouraging children to seek help from whomever is around them and everything. And if parents or caregivers or after school professionals come into that like, hey, I don't know how to get this answer either, let's look it up, let's figure it out, let's learn together, kind of attitude and everything, then it shows children also that we can keep working, and there are ways to find the right answers and to come to the right conclusions, when we are working through math problems. And we want to make sure, that we are definitely breaking down those stereotypes of, which kids are good at math and which kids aren't good at math. We want to encourage all children to be math learners. Whether they are male, female, non-binary, it doesn't matter. Everyone can be successful and can learn and cultivate those math skills and take those skills further into their career development. Kristen had a question: suggestions on encouraging problem solving. Seems like my current group of kids are quick to give up the first time they don't succeed and tune out after, even with positive encouragement examples and assistance. I think sometimes, it's teaching them perseverance, which is not, an easy skill, but just rewarding the effort and sitting down and working through it with them and showing them that even as an adult, maybe we don't have, the right answers. We didn't get it right the first time, but let's continue trying. And sometimes that's really hard when, students are outcome driven rather than process driven. So if we, really start to concentrate on the process and it's okay to fail, teaching them how to, get something wrong and think it's okay to try again. And sometimes that can be done through different activities that we do. Sometimes just when we are doing regular activities with our children, if there's a science experiment and it just goes wrong, teaching them like, okay, that went wrong, let's try it over again and see if we can get it right this time. Just in the general scheme of things, or, if we're doing athletics with them and, oh, hey, I missed the basket that time, instead of being like, oh, forget it, never mind, I'm never going to be a basketball player, like teaching them how practice really kind of helps to work in their way, are definite things. But talking about just perseverance and taking a deep breath and trying again, is all, and that helps to build resiliency too. So, those resiliency skills are important. Yeah. Anyone else have anything to add? Like I said, let's make this collaborative. If you've got, a comment about, helping with problem solving skills and stuff like that, please feel free to, again, drop it in the chat, come off mute. Definitely, I don't want to stand here and say that I'm the expert at all of this and everything. We all have, our strong points and everything. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just letting the students know that you're an adult, you're a person as well, and you make mistakes at times, and you don't always get everything right. I think students feel like whatever the teacher says is golden, and they make no mistakes and they get nothing wrong. So every time they put a math problem up on the board and the teacher solves it, it's solved correctly. So I think when they understand that we're all human beings, we make mistakes. And like I used to tell my students, I want you to take a risk and take a chance, because what's the worst that's going to happen? The floor is not going to open up. You're not going to fall in the floor. That was what I always told my students, and just laugh and they would understand. And I kind of try to do that from day one, from the first day of school, and try to put that mindset into them, that growth mindset that we haven't figured it out yet. And that kind of helps a lot with students being okay with taking risk and that perseverance as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and that's kind of the basis of our, after school programs, our OST programs, is creating that safe space, creating that space that's safe for a child to, stumble and, a safe space to fail, if you will, and everything, so that we can, keep building it up, because that's important life lessons and everything. Thank you, Carnell. All right. Well, and that was a perfect segue, thank you, into talking about that growth mindset, that perseverance and everything. So, adult attitudes towards math can really, affect a child's achievement and everything. And again, that power of yet, that you haven't gotten it right yet, but we're going to. And it's okay if we didn't get it right the first time. We're going to continue to try. And just having that supportive adult, there and everything. And, studies suggest, and we've all heard it 100 times, that, having that adult reaction that is encouraging, that, helps them continue to move along, really impacts their achievement and their attitudes towards whatever subject they're trying to learn and everything. Just if the adults around them are supportive and are, not just empty cheers of "you've got this" and I believe in you, which is important messages to tell children, but it's okay that you didn't get this problem right. We're going to continue to work through it, and we're gonna work on this together, and we're going to get it right. And oh, look, we didn't get it right together. Let's try it again. Let's look for another example. Which is great, because we have so many resources out there now on the internet available to us, that we can, okay, this method didn't work for us. Let's look for a new method. Let's try and find something that can work for us. And that's the great thing, about a lot of the math out there now. Like math back in the 80s when I was in school was, there's one way to get to this problem, and there's only one right way. And now, with Common Core coming out and everything, really teaches them there are multiple ways to solve a problem. Let's find the method that works for you and everything. And I think that's really important. Yeah, Carnell, celebrating those small wins is so important with youth, just taking it step by step. And on the flip side, if we have a negative attitude toward anything that a child is learning, and have those low expectations that it's okay, you're not a math person, I'm not a math person, we're going to just, get that D and get out of that class and, move on, kind of thing. We don't really want to lower any expectations, but we want to make sure that we're setting the bar high, but high enough, for low enough for them to achieve, but high enough for them to, to work towards it and everything. So we want to make them, those SMART goals, those achievable goals and everything. All right. So let's talk a little bit about a growth mindset. Yeah, Carnell, students do take on the attitudes of the teachers, and that's so important to, to think about every single day when we walk in. Just take a deep breath, and we're going to do this, and we're going to get through it. And even, if kids come to you with a problem and everything, maybe you need to take a breath and think, okay, let's think about how we're going to tackle this together. But, I've got you, you've got me, we're in this together, sort of thing. So that a fixed mindset is a belief that people are born with a certain intelligence, and no matter what you do, you're only going to be so smart in your life, and that's just your lot in life. But that growth mindset is that you can increase your intelligence. You can if you work hard and you persist, you can achieve great things in your life. And the harder you work your brain, just like working out and exercising, the harder you work your brain, the more intelligence that you can gain and everything. And that's really where we want to focus, is that growth mindset, that mindset of, if I keep practicing, I'm going to get this. I may not have it right now, but if I keep working and I keep persevering, we're going to go through this. So on the next two slides, we've got some examples of fixed mindset and growth mindset. And there is a number in the top. There's a 1 or a 2. So if you can either drop in the chat or just come off mute and let me know which one is the growth mindset statement. So you can either say 1 or 2. And we'll just kind of see where we are in knowing what a growth mindset is. So when we encourage effort in learning, number 1 is not everyone is a math person. You're so good at other subjects. Or number 2 is you can do it. Let's try another strategy. Which one is the growth mindset? Yeah, 2 is that growth mindset. Let's keep going. Let's try another strategy. Let's figure out how to work around it. Let's break this problem down into smaller chunks. It's like eating the elephant. How do you eat an elephant? Well, 1 bite at a time. So, how do you learn this big math problem? Well, we take it down, 1 step at a time and everything. All right, so yep. Number 2, praise and effort. You got a higher grade on this assignment. You must have worked really hard. Or you got a higher grade assignment. You must be really smart. Which one of these is that growth mindset? This one's a little bit trickier. So the growth mindset for this one is really going to be focusing on the working hard aspect of it rather than the really smart. Because if I didn't get a higher grade, then that means, if I get a lower grade next time, then that must mean I'm not as smart anymore. But that working hard, you worked really hard on it. Even if you get a lower grade the next time, it doesn't mean that you're not working hard, but we want to focus on the effort rather than the outcomes and everything with that growth mindset. Yeah. All right. Any questions or comments about growth mindset? All right. So yeah, Carnell talked about the power of yet. It's like he got my slides ahead of time. So we really want to just focus on, I didn't get a good grade on that assignment, even though I worked really hard. So you didn't get that good grade yet. You're going to get there. We're taking it 1 step at a time and everything. And we want to just let them know that anything is possible. Even if you stumbled and fell this time, you can get up and keep going and keep working, and you'll get there eventually. And I'm going to help you get there. We're going to work through this together. We're going to, be partners in your success, and we're going to work together. So we really want to capitalize on that yet in our programming, especially working with math, but working with anything with our kids that they're learning, those new skills that they're learning, those new things that they're achieving, and everything. Whether you are working with an elementary school group that's just starting out learning things, or you are, working with those high schoolers that are, applying to colleges and things like that. And, I didn't get into this college. Okay, but there's still plenty more. You haven't gotten accepted to a college yet, but we're going to get you there. We're going to get you into, a school and stuff like that. So those are things that we really just need to keep that growth mindset going and focus on helping them get there. All right. So some messages that we can share with, because remember we're talking about, working with families too. Messages that we can share with our families, and maybe can be kind of a theme of your family math night or something like that, is really talking to them about how attitudes towards math can influence a child's math achievement. So we want to make sure that we are talking to parents, whether maybe you have a parent meeting before or a parent meeting after the family math night. If you have like a parent advisory council or something like that puts out a newsletter. These are kind of things that you can really throw out there that help families understand that they really have that impact on their children and everything, even though teachers may be doing most of the teaching and everything, a lot of learning really still happens at home, and the more involved parents are in their student's journey, the more successful that their student is going to be. So, family and teacher feedback is important for math learning. So talk to your children, find out, where they're struggling and how you can help them, and, giving them encouragement and just helping them persevere through. again, providing that growth oriented feedback. So not just like, yay, you're doing great. You're improving, you got a higher grade and everything. You want to talk about, you're working really hard. I see the effort is, really a growth mindset kind of thing. I see how well you're doing. We're taking baby steps and everything, and I see you working. And again, praise that effort and learning. Like Cornell said earlier, praise those small wins. Look for those small wins that you can talk to your students. You can encourage families to talk to their students instead of getting down on maybe areas that they still need to improve, but how to really focus on like, hey, you are improving. Let's keep rolling. So let's practice some math. So we have a problem on the screen there. And let's think about some different ways that you can find a solution for this. So, in the chat or, if you want to come off mute or something like that, and just talk to us about how you would go about solving this problem. And if there's more than one way that you can think to actually solve this problem. I'll give you a minute to think of solutions, and then we can kind of share out how we come about this solution. Did we lose you for a minute, Kirsten? I see you came back. All right, has anyone come up with the answer to 23 minus 9?
All right, sorry about that. Switching from my phone back to my desktop back in the office.
Got it, I totally understand. Easier to see on a bigger screen.
Absolutely.
All right, anybody have any solutions of how to solve for 23 minus 9?
In my adult life, I've been going by 10, so I automatically do 23 minus 10 and then add 1.
Yeah, 23 minus 10 and add 1. You get the answer that way. Again, just doing those 10s, instead of adding 1 back in, you could do 24 minus 10. Yeah, and subtract and everything. Yeah, so there's different ways. You could do 23 circles on a sheet of paper, cross out 9 of them, and count the numbers that are left. There's so many different ways. If you had counting blocks, base 10 blocks in your program, kids could line those up. They could rip up pieces of paper. So there's so many different ways. If a child is a tactile learner and really has to touch those things, little pieces of paper, paper clips, gummy bears, anything that motivates them. So there's so many different ways to come up with the answer. And like we talked about before, there's not just one solid path to getting the answer and everything. And we want to encourage children that if they can't think in the abstract of adding 1 to each side, so 24 minus 10 is 14, which is the same as 23 minus 9, giving them different solutions and letting them explore which solution is the best answer, gets them the best the best results and everything, is really what we want to encourage with our students as they are gaining those early math skills. And then that relates to to those later math skills. And I know some teachers very early in in math education don't want children counting on their fingers. But your fingers are always there. That is that one resource that you are going to have with you wherever you are. So I am of the mindset of, fingers are better than calculators because at least you're doing a little bit of calculating and everything, so they can count down. You've got 10 fingers, take 9 away, so then you're just counting down those 9 on your fingers and stuff like that. So just letting them use the resources that they have available to them. I think education has been such a do things one way, and we're starting to explore so many different ways to teach children things, that they need to learn to use the resources that are around them and not just memorizing and things like that. So, all right, well, let's watch a little video that we have about just talking about how teaching. Okay, give me a second. The video is not working. I'm going to stop share for a second. Sorry about that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
From idea to submission empowers.
Let me pause it for a second. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes technology foils even the best of plans. Okay. Share my screen again. All right. Turn up the volume so you can hear it. And play.
To do the best work with Grammarly's generative AI.
Dan here from mathforlove.com with a quick math conversation challenge for your home. And it is this. Whatever problem you're working on, even a very simple naked arithmetic problem of 23 minus 9, instead of just coming up with the answer, which in that case would be 14, maybe you know the algorithm and you do it that way, and then you'd be done. Instead of doing that, with your child, come up with as many ways as you can to find the answer. Maybe you say, well, 23 minus 9 is the same as 24 minus 10, because I can always move them, not one big thing difference between them. And I can do that maybe. Maybe you subtract 10 and then add 1 back in, and that's the same subtract anyway. Maybe you draw 23 circles and then cross out 9 of them. Maybe you think of 9 as 6 plus 3, you're going to subtract the 3 to get to 23 to 20, then subtract the 6 to get to 50. Maybe you'll actually think of the 23 as being 10 and 10, then 3, and you'll just subtract the 9 from the 10s. You know, 10 minus 9 is 1, so now it's 1, and 10 and 3, and then it's 15. Any way you do it is a valuable way to approach it. But what's most important to know is that if you just have one way to do things, it's very fragile. You make some little mistake or forget something, you're lost. Real, robust mathematical understanding comes from lots of different ways to attack problems and understanding the connections between them. So you can have a very productive math conversation at home today and every day just by saying, well, let's not stop at one answer. Let's see just how many approaches we can get to find the answer in this.
All right. So mathforlove.com is a great resource when you, if you're trying to come up with different answers, or if you're working with your program educators and trying to, help them become more comfortable with teaching math and strategies and things like that. We found some good resources on mathforlove.com, and a lot of them come with those videos that just kind of encourage how to teach children different strategies for solving math problems. And those are great resources, again, that you can send out to parents in a newsletter or something like that. Because what parent wouldn't want to, just watch a video to understand and to learn that there are different ways of, solving problems, especially, if we're looking at older parents or, parents who don't have a strong background and everything, that are just saying like, I don't know how to work with my child, with some of these newer math strategies and everything. How do I help them? We found this is a great resource to be able to, watch some videos, get some encouragement, and kind of learn as you go along as an adult in a child's life. All right, so let's go ahead and pop back onto our share screen. All right, there we go. So just thinking generally when we are working with youth, in any way is students learn best when they feel safe and welcome. So we just want to make sure that no matter what, whether you are tackling a math problem, or whether you are doing a family event, or you are learning any new skill or anything like that, we want to make sure that we are always welcoming with the youth, that we are using their name and not sweetie and honey and all those kinds of things, because we can't remember their names. And using the pronouns that they prefer. That's so important these days, because it is all wrapped up in a child's identity. Their name is their identity. Their pronouns are their identity. So we want to make sure that we are building that relationship with the youth to get to know them and to help them feel safe, comfortable, seen, and heard in our programs. We want to get down on their level when we're talking to them, whether we're sitting next to them or we kneel at their desk, or we're bending over and everything. We want to make sure that we just are face to face and not kind of hovering over them, looking down on them and everything. Again, it's just building those relationships with youth, respecting their personal space. Ask them, like, can I help you? If you see a child struggling, they might come up to you and hand you the book, or hand you, a worksheet or something like that, and just be like, I can't. But if you're seeing them and observing them struggling and they don't know how to ask for help, coming up and just being like, hey, can I help you out with this? Like, what's going on? Talk to me about it. And just, making sure that they're going to welcome your help, because if you're just pushing that onto them, they may not welcome that help that you are trying to give them. Talk to them about their prior knowledge and everything. Well, explain to me what you do know about this problem. Talk to me, tell me what your teacher told you. Do you remember what your teacher told you in class? I found that I have 2 daughters. They are a senior in high school and in college and everything. And I found that when they are, throughout the years when they were struggling with something, if I'm like, okay, explain to me what we're working with right now, refresh me, it's been a long time since I've taken this class, tell me what's going on. And just sometimes in that activating that prior knowledge, it helps them think like, okay, I've got this, I know this and this, and then you can help them get to a solution. Or sometimes they'll even figure out the solution on their own if you ask them to explain the concept to you in their words. Because again, they're putting it in their words. They're not just trying to remember, what they learned in school and stuff like that. So really just activating that prior knowledge, with a discussion, and it helps give them that confidence too. That, okay, you do know. Okay, so you know what the foundation is. So let's think about what could the next step be in solving this problem or something like that. And that gives a space for their voice. If they are frustrated, within acceptable reasons, within acceptable limits, let them talk about their frustration and voice it out, and, kind of move through it. Okay, so I got it. We're frustrated about this. Now let's figure out how we can move past this. Let's figure out how we can work it through. We don't want to let them just go on and on about, complaining about their assignment and things like that, but we want to, let them kind of get it out. Let them, understand that their voice is important, and that we see them, we hear them, we acknowledge. But let's move past. Let's move on now. Let's continue. Let's make progress now. And taking time to team build and have fun. So doing things with the youth. If your main job is homework help in your after school program or something like that, don't just always focus on homework. Like let's take time for fun, even if we make math fun by playing silly games with them. And I've got a lot of great games that we'll talk about when we get to the resources section and stuff like that. But just playing games with them and letting them know, laugh with them, have fun with them, let them see that OST is not supposed to replicate the school day, but to complement it and everything. So let's have fun when we can have fun. And I know classroom teachers, are always trying to have fun with their students and things like that. So that builds those trusting relationships so that your students are comfortable coming to you and asking those hard questions. Any questions on like the relationship building or anything like that? I know, we're all kind of OST people, so we can have some good strategies for building relationships with our youth. All right. Well, let's get to the meat and potatoes of why we are here and really talk about this planning a family event. So we talked a little bit about why it's important to include our families in our planning and everything. So let's talk about how can we get this set up? How can we organize things? And our partners at the Digital Harbor Foundation have helped us come up with Planning a Family STEM Event guidebook. And Hassani, if you can do me a favor and drop the link to that in the chat. And again, I will send these links out to everyone, or you can scan it. You can scan that QR code that's there on your screen right now and just kind of open up. But this is a fantastic resource that you can download and do digitally. You can print it out if you are a paper and pencil kind of person. And it really just kind of is a step-by-step guide of, how to plan the things that we need to think about when we're planning a family event. So I'm going to stop sharing this one and I'm going to pop over into the actual guidebook and we can take a look and we'll kind of go through the guidebook kind of section by section and, and talk about it a little bit. Okay, let me share this screen. There we go. And it is through Canva. So, it's there, but you can download a PDF copy and do it as an PDF copy and, kind of fill in things. You can keep it with yourself. If you have a group or a committee that's working with you to plan the event, you can give each of them a copy of the guidebook. So, starts with just, the sections that we have are just, thinking about engagement and access. How are you going to engage students? How are you going to make sure that families have access to your program? So that's kind of the beginning. And then we talk about creating the team. Like doing a family event is hard for just one person to put everything together. So really build a strong team of people that are going to work with you and support you the whole way through this. We'll talk about some logistical considerations. And then there's a really great timeline and checklist at the end that kind of helps you check off and make sure that you've kind of remembered all the things that go into planning a successful family event. All right, so there's like a little welcome that just talks to you about how to help create formal and informal spaces for family STEM events. All right, so let's look at the first part, the engagement and access. So, just questions to consider where you can write down your ideas is who are you going to invite? Who in your community, are you going to target? Families, those kinds of things. Are you just targeting those families that are already in your program, or are you looking to bring new families into your program and you're going to make this a full community-wide block party kind of, event and everything? Do you want to target just a certain age group? Are you looking at, if you are a K through 12th grade kind of program, are you just looking at your elementary school students, or are you Do you just want to focus on your middle or high school students? So just things to, think about and to consider. What are your goals? What do you want to come out of this? What is the main reason that you are putting this event on? And then, obviously when and where. Where are you going to do your event? Are you going to do it on a day out of school? Are you going to do it, during a certain celebration month and have a theme to it? Are you going to do it during after school appreciation week and things like that? So just think about those kinds of things, and if you are having it not at your site that your families have access to regularly and everything, are you going to have to provide transportation? Is there transportation available? So just thinking through those things and discussing, and like I said, if you build a team, having each member of your team take a look at it and write down their ideas and things like that, are some of those early considerations. And we want to make sure that making it easy to access, that our families really are going to have the most access to this event. If you feed them, they will come. So, can we provide healthy snacks? Do we have a budget? Can we partner with, a local grocery store or a farmer's market or something like that, or a food bank, and get some donations of healthy snacks or healthy meals that your program can serve? Do you have a cooking program within your out of school program that maybe they could make sandwiches the day before and then we can serve them that night, or earlier in the afternoon or something like that? So just think about all those kinds of things, how you can make this a really great event and everything, and ensure inclusivity for those younger siblings, or even older siblings that are coming and everything. Like, how can we get the whole family involved? Whatever your child, whatever the youth in your programs, whatever their families look like, how can we make sure that we are really being inclusive of everyone, so that as many people have access to our program as possible? Thinking of ways to promote it. Are you going to have registration ahead of time, or can they just pop in and come when they want? Are there signups maybe for transportation or something like that? So, different ways to promote it. And how are you going to get them in? What is the incentive? What is the pull? What is the what's in it for me, to bring my child to this program and stuff like that. So really thinking about, those things when we are trying to plan this event, coming up with ideas. And again, working through, just writing down, and this can be, the earliest planning stages. This could just be a brainstorming piece of paper that you do ahead of time, and then really just kind of, okay, some of this stuff is out of the question, like we can't do it, and everything, but you want to make sure that you're just writing everything down as much as possible, and then kind of zeroing in on exactly how you're going to work it from there. Any questions, comments, things to add about engagement and access, things that maybe we didn't consider, when putting this guide together? Okay, so let's talk about creating our team. Who do we want, to help out? Who can we think about to help out? So obviously, if you are a program administrator, you want to think about your staff. Who are those people that, can stay extra after work to help you plan, or can come in early before the kids get there, to help you plan, who you can count on, if you're having this after hours, can stay late on a, Thursday night or something like that can come in on a Saturday morning to help set things up. So you want to, think about those kinds of things. Community members, whether that is families, where you're asking families if anyone would like to volunteer to help be a part of the planning committee, help carry these things out, or you have just community members in your surrounding community that would love to be involved in, in a planning session like this. Or if you're, maybe an elementary school program, do you have older teens that drop into programs maybe down the road or within your program and stuff like that, that you can pull in and be like, hey guys, let's come in and help me, those kinds of things. So think about all those people that are around you that can really help you to plan this event. Do you, can you reach out to the math teachers at the schools that your children access the program from? I know some programs are embedded within the schools and some are standalone programs and everything. So if you're in a school, can you, tap into those math teachers that are there and be like, hey, I'm planning this event. Would you like to be a part of it? Maybe they want to plan their own table, plan their own set of activities and everything, and bring in to kind of help, expand things out. Or if you're a standalone program and you've got kids coming from, all different schools, can you pull from those different feeder schools that your youth are coming from, and tap into teachers or parents that may have jobs working within some type of, a math field or something like that, that you can really pull in to help plan, or just sometimes parents love to be involved in these kinds of activities and stuff like that. Are there local businesses that you can reach out to help sponsor the event? Like I said, is there a grocery store, or a restaurant down the street or something like that, that, is really trying to make a name for themselves in the community, that they could donate, whether it's money, food, bottles of water, anything like that. They can help promote in your store, in the stores, through their social media or something like that. Are there different businesses that could really help you out in your local community and everything? Because I know a lot of businesses really want to give back into the communities where they are embedded. So let's tap into those resources and see what they're willing to give. Any questions about building your team or comments about building teams? So let's talk about logistics, talk about, getting down to the nitty gritty of this planning. So again, we want to think about what is our target age group, especially if we're serving, multiple age groups. Do we want to just do something with, if you've got pre-K in your program with your pre-K kindergarteners, or, maybe pre-K through 3, through grade 3, or do we want to target everybody? So, making those kind of decisions about what you really want the focus of the program to be, is really important, and that kind of helps you decide which activities you're going to do and how you're going to do them and everything. Think about your space setup. Do you have this space? Is there, if you're in a school, can you use you're normally in, a small classroom or something like that. Is the auditorium or the cafeteria available for you to, be able to use? Evelyn, did you have a question? I see your hands raised. No? Okay. So, just think about those spaces and where you can go to host your event. Yes, Carnell, did you have something? No, okay, that's fine. And really just kind of pull in all of your resources. Again, write all your ideas down, and then think about what is the most logical. Think about who's going to solicit, maybe again the school, and say, hey, we really want to do this activity in the evening in the cafeteria. I know we normally use the 4th grade classroom. Can we partner and use this event? Can we use the school later in the evening or on a Saturday morning or something like that? Again, thinking about the time, when are families going to be available? A lot of families use after school as a safe place for their kids to go, so that they're not going home alone, so that parents can work. We're not going to be able to fit everybody's schedule in. We're not going to be able to accommodate every family. But when is a time that most families would be able to join, in and everything? 4 o'clock on a Wednesday may not be the best time because parents might still be working, families might still be working, caregivers might still be working. But maybe 6 is the time that your program is usually over. Parents are picking up by then. They can stay a little bit later. Again, we've got, free pizza. We've got, snacks and things like that. Come stay for dinner, have, play some math games and stuff like that. So really think about, when is the best time that you're going to be able to get the biggest participation by families and stuff like that. And then really start to think about, what is your budget? What can you afford to spend, whether it's on materials, whether it's on, food, logistics, if you have to rent a facility or something like that. And again, work on, think about what can you get donated to you, especially in smaller communities. There's usually someone who is available. There are businesses that are looking to embed themselves closer, give back to their communities and everything. So can we pull in those resources and try and get some things donated, or have sponsorships and things like that. So then here is this great timeline checklist that again is a great resource to use. So we've got things that you would want to do at least 6 weeks out. So we've got to check off, like, when do we want it completed by, and then check it when it's completed within those 6 weeks. So we're talking about date, time, and location, budget, who to reach out to for sponsors, pulling your team together, timeline and goals, and starting to create that publicity. And then, we've got 3 weeks out, the tasks that we can do during those 3 weeks and everything. And then we're getting down to the nitty gritty, 3 to 5 days out, and things that you need to do for the day of the event. So this is not an exhaustive list. And check in when they have completed an event and everything. So the last thing that I want to talk to you about is just the appendix that really has some planning tips, and then get to the resource sharing, because like I said, we put together this great list of math resources from a lot of different sources that really can help you simplify planning a math event. So we want to make sure that this is fun. Families want to have fun together, and some families just don't have that opportunity to actually sit down and have fun together. So if we bring the fun to them, if we say, come to this event, we have incentives for them to come and everything, and we make it fun, it gives families an opportunity just to have a good time together. There's no pressure. There's no, passing or failing this event or anything like that. It's just having fun. We want to make sure that there's a variety of different activities to do, and that we've prepared and practiced. So within your activity and everything, make sure that you've got all the supplies that you need, that you've tried the games out, that you know what you're doing. If you're having different, maybe volunteers running each table with a game on it and everything, make sure they've played the game, give them the instructions ahead of time, and let them kind of play around with it a little bit, and see if there's something that needs to be tweaked or anything like that. Some of it, letting the kids do the work, get the kids involved, get the youth involved, have them help you pick out activities that are, fun for them, that are interesting to them. Create fun and safe spaces, give them a voice, and just help them make connections with the activities and their learning, and also connections with each other. Whether it's youth to youth, and maybe sometimes they already have a good connection, but maybe they don't have good connections with their families. Again, it's providing that space, that safe space for families to come together and really enjoy themselves. All right, so this last resource that I want to share with you, and we'll get Asani to drop the link again in the chat, or you can scan that QR code. And this is our online resources that we have. It's a Google Sheets form where we pulled all the different math resources that we could find. And again, it's not exhaustive, and we are adding to it as we find new resources. So it is a living, working document. But it really, I'm going to stop sharing and move over to it. But we curated activities from proven sources, in the education field that cater towards children and everything, and are research based. So it's not just a list that's kind of willy-nilly thrown together. But let me share my screen. And the great thing about it is we did it on a Google Sheet so that it can be customized however you are looking for activities. So we have the activities, everything is a link, everything we found is online, so it's all digital format, which is great, saves you paper and things like that. And you can sort it by grade band. So if you're looking for elementary school, there's only a few high school. As the kids get older, some of the activities are a little, finding activities for middle school and high schoolers is a little harder and everything, but you can divide it by that. You can go through, and we broke it down besides just elementary, also some grade levels that are in there. So if you are doing elementary school, but you want to make sure that you're reaching, you've got activities for kindergartners in there, you've got activities for 4th and 5th graders in there, and everything, so that you can make sure that you're getting a good variety of activities. If you want to do things just by a certain math concept, you can come over and you can sort it by math concept. So we've got addition and subtraction, we've got algebra, consumer education, functions. So there's all different, math concepts that you can sort this by. There you can sort by preparation, because sometimes that is, a big consideration is, are there things that really are going to take a lot of time to prepare? Are there things that are, easy, like you can just throw some supplies out on the table and, be done with it and everything? And then there are some things that, might take a little bit more preparation. Look at that, there's a no preparation at all. That's the best. And then this one I think is also super important, especially when we're talking about budget. But if we sort it by materials, we really tried to find activities where, so there's is craft supplies plus. So it's probably things that you have in your activities already in your facilities and everything, with maybe some specialized things that you may not have. But this general craft supplies, these are things like decks of cards, paper clips, pencils, things that you are probably already going to have that you can scrounge up in your thing, that you can get at the dollar store, that you can get at Walmart, Oriental Trading Company, really low cost supplies, or things that you can pull together. If you're looking for dice, you might just go raid all of your board games that you have for the evening and make sure that you put it all back at the end, because nobody wants to open a board game without dice. So it's there that you can really just kind of look and see what craft supplies you have, and can just do it with very low cost. And then there are some that take specialized materials, and that's good to know also when you're going in. can you get someone to maybe purchase a bunch of kits for, certain, excuse me, activities and stuff like that. Like the one was activity straws that are, different than just dollar store straws, and everything that have, that can hold better weight and things like that. So just thinking about those and making sure that you take that into consideration, especially with budgets, and things like that. So let's go ahead and let's go back to sorting it by activities, sort by A to Z. And we can pull up a couple of activities and just kind of take a look at them. So like this 1-2 NIM is from Math for Love. Like I said, that was a great resource that we found. And when you go to the Math for Love, there's all different kinds of games that you can go in. So this, again, is free lessons. Who doesn't want free lessons that you don't have to open and stuff like that? So there's different kinds of activities that you can do. Again, finding different math resources that may work in other parts of your program. But the great thing about this is it's got a little video that shows you how to play the game. That's loud. I'm really sorry. Let me turn that down a little bit. This last video was not.
Hi, I'm Dan Finkel. Rich tasks are a fantastic way to build your students' capability as persevering problem solvers. And games are a great way into rich tasks because they have a way of grabbing and keeping students' attention. Today's game, 1-2 NIM, is one of my favorites. You'll want to gather counters for students to actually play this game, as well as something for them to write on. As with all rich tasks, we want to think about how to launch to light students' curiosity, how we'll keep them in productive struggle for learning as much as possible, and how we'll wrap up the activity to help them gain ownership of what they've learned. Let's look at the launch. To launch 1-2 NIM, there are a couple of things that we want to keep absolutely front and center. The first is that students are going to win and going to lose this game, and they want to be graceful with both. Not only does winning feel good, but losing has value also. Every time you lose, you have an opportunity to get better, get smarter, and take the strategy that your opponent used to beat you and use it in your next game. So it's actually an opportunity to learn. I like to tell students.
Okay, so I'm not going to watch the whole video and everything, but it just shows you that there are videos that talk about the theory behind the activity and everything. It goes through, it'll show you step by step how to play the game. So you can watch these when you're preparing. You can send it out to your volunteers so that they kind of know what they're leading and everything. And the concepts behind what we're trying to teach them in this activity and everything, but it talks about like what topics are counting and cardinality, operations and algebraic thinking, and then it's got grade levels. So it's all there, and if you scroll down, it just talks about again how to play the game. So you can print out a PDF that has the whole lesson plan on it, or you can just make up your own, instruction sheet and everything. You can take like a PowerPoint and just make instruction sheets and everything. But it shows you how to play the game, examples of how, it runs and everything. And then it shows you variations on the game, depending on the age of the group, how many times they've played it, those kinds of things. So it's got different variations. And then really good, are questions. So your volunteers can have these questions to kind of ask at the end, or while they're playing the game, can be discussion questions like, what move can your mom make, the next time? How did you win the game? So just different things to take it from just playing a game to talking about processes and, and things like that, and how they thought about, those activities and everything. So it's got tips for the classroom, how to kind of use this. Again, if you're doing it as a family math night, or if you're just doing it as a fun math activity in your classroom. So this is a really good activity, it's fun. I have played it several times when I've done the family math night as a live event. This is one of my favorite activities that I tend to do as a demonstration and everything, because it really kind of gets you thinking about how to strategy and how to win and everything. So, but again, the focus doesn't always have to be on winning a game, but you can take it from, thinking strategically, and things like that. So there's, fun games like beach ball math, where and this is from Mizzen, which you have to do a you can set up a problem beforehand. I had one of my participants at a thing was working with middle schoolers, and they were learning algebra. So, you set the problem on the board or set the problem up and everything. They catch the beach ball, their left thumb is X, their right thumb is Y, and then they're solving for the equation or something like that. So, different ways that you can set beach ball math up. Again, it talks about your learning objectives. Materials are pretty easy, a beach ball and a permanent marker. So not a whole lot of different stuff, but you can do it with anything. If you've got an old playground ball or or something like that, or a stress ball that you've gotten free at another event that you've attended and stuff like that, anything that you can write numbers on and toss around. It's got the activity steps, variations, so all different kinds of ways that you can find different activities to engage your families in, and making it fun. So, just different kinds of, so like making the vinegar rocket is one that needs specialized materials and everything. So again, you can do a combination of really low cost craft materials, with cards and beach balls and counting chips and stuff like that, or you can go the whole way up to specialized activities and with specialized materials and things like that. So and on here we also, the next page of this resource, we just put actual links to the websites that we use to find all of the different resources. Some take a membership, none of them are, cost anything to create a membership or an account with. They are all free, but all the resources that we found are zero cost to actually obtain the lesson plan or the resource. And again, we tried to find some low cost as far as materials and things like that. And then this last thing that we did, one of the staff that works at the Digital Harbor Foundation in downtown Baltimore, he is a math teacher also. So he just kind of came up with, if your staff are not really familiar with what are the math concepts that the different grade levels are working on, it kind of came up with this spreadsheet that just gives some generalized activities that children in the different grades are learning. Now, this might vary if he is a Baltimore City teacher. So if you are not Baltimore City, this may vary a little bit, but in general, throughout the state of Maryland, generally kindergartners are learning to understand numbers, write numbers, count 1 to 20, or write the numbers 1 to 20, count to 100. So this is kind of a generalized idea of the different types of concepts that the students in our activities might be doing. Again, it's no way saying this is exactly what your students are learning, but it just kind of gives a general idea of the types of activities that you may want to include in your math event, depending on which types of students that the ages of the students that you are working with. Any questions about the resource document? And like I said, this is a kind of living, breathing, working document. So we are adding to it all the time. Please feel free that if you're like, oh, I have this great resource that we love to use when we're doing, math activities and stuff like that, or I found this great thing, please feel free to add it to the document. You can shoot me an email like, hey, Crystal, I added this into the Family Math Night document. Like I said at the beginning, we are not the all-knowing, everything. That everyone who works in OST really has great ideas, and we would love to learn from other people and share resources and everything. And I think that's what's, can really make our community greater, is just sharing those resources and everything. So I'm going to stop sharing and just give everyone an opportunity. Are there any questions or comments or concerns that you have, or anything that you would like to add to the conversation, or anything like that? Any takeaways that you might have? Is there something new that you learned, or that you're going to try in your programs, or you're going to share with those that you work with?
I like the new idea of bringing parents into the mix as actual almost facilitators, parents that may work in fields that involve math. I like that idea. That's something new.
Yeah. And you know what? And maybe there's parents out there that just don't know how to get involved and everything. And maybe they don't work in a math field, but you can give them beach ball math and, give them instructions and stuff like that. And it really just kind of helps them feel a little bit more connected to your program and everything. And the more connected they feel, then, the greater they can only add to your program and stuff like that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I'll just echo that. We recently did it last minute, and it's the best decision we made. We did a spring break camp, and Friday afternoon we had a little parent open house where we invited them in, and the kids showed off all they had cooked that week. It was a cooking camp with a lot of math involved. And it just was amazed to see the connections that were made and the interactions. It was really positive. So I'm excited for this format.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes parents just have no idea what we're doing with their kids after school. They're just thankful that their kids have a safe place to go after school and everything. And if we can get them involved, and, then they really see that, they buy into, and then they might be like, to their, if you're looking to get more kids into your program and stuff like that, if you have seats to fill, they can, help spread the word. Again, parents have connections to people in the community and everything, that maybe they can help get sponsors for the next activity or the next event or anything like that. So, parents as resources, families as resources is a great opportunity. And again, opening it up to anyone that is, involved in a child's life, any special adult in a child's life and everything can really be good too. Kids that maybe, we want to make those parent connections and everything, but maybe, someone can't bring a parent, but maybe they can bring their teacher. They can invite their teacher from school or something like that to come with them. If moms and dads have different work situations, and it's not going to spread out. So you can make it, invite your special adult or something like that into the program and stuff like that. So we can really get some involvement. So, that's kind of what we had for today. And I want to thank you all for joining us. Like I said before, I'm going to send out, this video, the PowerPoint presentation, and all of the links to these resources so that you have them at hand. Please feel free to share them with others in your communities. Share them with parents. If parents are looking for activities to do at home with their kids, a lot of the activities on that resource sheet can be done at home. They have those activities. A lot of the activities also, if you set them up as a family math night, you can talk to parents about how they can replicate those activities at home. So maybe you're making copies of making like a packet that has copies of all of the instructions for each activity that you're doing around the room and everything, that they can take home. And like, these are activities that you can do at home. You can replicate them at home. Again, especially if you're doing activities that really take little to no supplies and things like that, no specialized supplies. Parents can definitely recreate a lot of these activities at home with their kids. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Please feel free to reach out to me if there's anything that you need, any questions you have, anything else that I can help you with. Most is always here as a resource to help you with your programs and everything. And I hope you all have a great day.